Peace, peace, peace. What it is, fam? It's your brother Tyvon Swainell, aka the Orthodox Moor. And real quick, I want to get into a part 2 of the debate / discussion I was having with Sarah Garvey and a few other people on the Black Ice TV UK USA Link Up panel. Again, shout out to Black Ice TV and shout out to SolarVision ITBM2 for putting together the conversation. In this part of the conversation, Brother Sarah and I were getting into an interesting conversation about Islam and Moorish Islam in particular, and the differences between Moorish Islam and the Islam that Sarah is used to encountering in Speaker's Corner, like the Salafi, Hanafi, Hadithist forms of Islam, etc. But with that, family, without further ado, I will get into it and let y'all enjoy. Let me share my screen real quick. Bam.
This is my thing. How do you practice Pan-Africanism by using Islam when the Prophet Muhammad was a white man? I don't understand that.
So you're gonna have to go to Hadith to even talk about that, right? So I'm a Quranist. I'm a Quranist, and the tradition that Prophet Noble Ali brought us was a Quranist tradition. So we don't even recognize that.
You don't recognize? Yeah, but Noble Drew Ali would have gotten his teachings from somewhere, right?
So when he established the Moorish Science Temple of America, he stipulated that we derive our power and authority from the Quran of Muhammad, not the Quran and the Sunnah.
So yeah, but all right. So the Quran of Muhammad. So but Muhammad was an individual, though, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but he, according to the text surrounding Muhammad, he was a white guy.
So again, I don't claim those. So the Quran does not speak of this color, right? I'm a Quranist. I don't deal with the Hadith. I don't deal with Surah. I don't deal with none of that. You gotta go to Bashir to do with that. Yeah.
So how would you claim it to be? How would you bring it back to Africa? Because one, you don't have Muhammad's nationality. Okay, or you do. You actually have him as a Qurayshi Arab, right? So you have him primarily in Mecca and Medina, which is in Saudi Arabia. Yet and still, you would attempt to try and bring your paradigm back to Africa.
So where am I claiming I'm supposed to? So obviously you've never read our literature, right? So I'm just going to be real clear. Nowhere in our literature does it stipulate that, even in the Quran, are you supposed to enforce Islam on anyone for anything, right? And so first and second of all, I don't share a nationality with Muhammad. I'm not claiming to be Arab or Quraysh. I'm a Moorish American.
Yeah, but we're going back to the root, because you spoke about the Noble Drew Ali, and you said Noble Drew Ali said in your teachings that he gets his teachings from the Quran, yes?
I said that we derive our power and authority to the world.
You derive your power and authority from the Quran of Muhammad. So that's your root then. So your root would be, according to you, the Quran of Muhammad. Yet and still, we find this Muhammad nowhere in Africa. He's in Saudi Arabia, and he's a Qurayshi Arab. So this is what I'm trying to understand, how you attempt to bring
were the historical Moors not Islam?
Say again?
Were the historical Moors not Islam?
The historical Moors, yeah, were under Islam, yes, indeed.
So if I'm claiming my nationality goes back to being Moorish, why is it odd to you and peculiar that I would claim being Islamic?
No, what the point I'm making is the root of your actual book, or the root of your actual religion, is not African. So if you're, I deal with African roots, because Muhammad, as in you just said, I'll repeat it again.
What about the Quran is not African?
Your guys said, your guy Noble Drew Ali brought from the Quran of Muhammad. The Quran of Muhammad is not an African book. Okay, the Quran of Muhammad is a Qurayshi Arab book, and Muhammad was a Qurayshi Arab from Saudi Arabia and Mecca.
So the Quran itself does not say it's a Qurayshi Arab book. The Qurayshi Arab comes in when Uthman burned the previous Qurans. Second of all, so Garvey said in his own writings, in his own speeches, Muhammad is a black man. So again, I'm coming, whoa, slow down. So Mark, so again, we canonize Garvey's. So in our tradition, we don't deal with some Qurayshi Arab concept, yeah? We're dealing with the same concept your boy Kalam talks about, yeah? The East African origin, bro, that concept.
This sounds like more pick and mix, I'm not gonna lie. What I'm trying to do is get to the root, and it's like you're denying your root, and you're starting counting at the number 5.
So what you're trying to do is dance around the fact that I can smash you on the science and religion part. So let's just jump to it.
Bro, calm down. What I'm trying to say is, you said to me on this chat that your guy, Noble Drew, told you guys that he takes from the Quran. So the Quran would be the essence of how you guys got your paradigm, right? Okay,
so let's prove it's a Quraysh.
Hang on. So if the Quran, the Arab Quran from Muhammad, from the Quraysh, is the way in which you got your paradigm, I always go back to the root of it. It just makes sense to go back to the root. And I've always said to you, if the root of the tree is false, then I don't care about the branches or the leaves. Okay, the branches and the leaves of the tree don't make sense to me if the root is actually rotten. So what I'm trying to say to you is your root is rotten, and you're attempting to tell people that the leaves and the trees and the fruits are something you can eat. I can't buy that.
Who's asking you to buy it? So anywhere in this conversation, where am I asking Sarah Garvey to be a Muslim or accept the Quran?
I'm saying for you yourself, bro. Like for you yourself, Richard, we can't even hear you, bro. You need to turn your back. You need to turn your back up, bro.
Everyone hear me. And everyone hear me. The purpose is.
No, we can't hear you. You all broke it up. Fix your
So Sarah, let's just get clear with this, right? So the Quran you're trying to avoid, right, is not anti-scientific, and it does not stipulate that you have to practice Islam in any way, shape, or form. Like, as a matter of fact, it stipulates I'm supposed to hold you to your tradition. Okay?
Like I said, you're talking about the leaves and the roots, bro. Like, so the leaves
show what's false about
it. The branches.
I hear you talking. I don't see you proving nothing. What's false about it?
I'm telling you, by your very essence, you're telling me that you bring stuff back.
What's false about the Quran?
And listen to what I'm saying to you. I'm showing you that your very root is nothing to do with Africa. Because your root is the Quran, or the Qurayshi Quran of Muhammad.
Okay, let's prove that you don't know without Kalam here. Because without Kalam, you know nothing about Islam. So again, the Quran was not transmitted in Quraysh. And the Quran itself, and the Quran itself does not say it was transmitted in Quraysh. There's a word for Quraysh in the Quran.
Don't get triggered. Don't get triggered. But what I'm trying to say, let me get in real quick. I swear, I don't understand. I'm trying to say to you, yeah. Sorry, Solomon.
So prove that it's a Quraysh book off the top. You made a claim. Prove it. You can't prove nothing you said so far.
Bro, let me tell you, the Quran came from a man called Muhammad. Yeah, that's where the Quran came from. That's historical. The man called Muhammad was from the Qurayshi tribe. The man called Muhammad from the Qurayshi tribe in Medina or in Mecca in Saudi Arabia. That is known history. So what I'm trying to say.
So when you go to the book itself, right?
Finish, bro. I'm not even finished. I'm not finished. What I'm trying to say to you is your root is non-African. That is your root is non-African. You attempted to bring it back to Africa with some other stuff, but your root is not African.
So my nationality is African.
Yeah.
First and foremost. So the Moors weren't African?
Okay, so now you want to start your story at 5. Okay, let's start counting at the number 5. Doesn't make no sense. I'm trying to count from the number 1, bro. Okay? You can't count from the number 5.
Let's go back to one of the conversations, right? So one of the conversations, I'm Moorish American, right? And I'm talking about how if you're not practicing your religion from an African perspective, it's bad. Yeah, period. Whatever tradition. Philosophical, moral, whatever.
How can you practice your tradition from an African perspective when the root of your tradition isn't even African?
Okay, let's go to it. So let's go to the book that you have obviously not read. So let's go to the Quran in and of itself. Right? So you're stipulating that it's a Quraysh book. Does the Quran in the Quran stipulate that it's Quraysh?
The Quran came from a Qurayshi man. What are you talking about?
I asked you a simple question. Does the Quran within itself claim that it came down in Quraysh? Because it specifies. It very clearly specifies.
The Quran came, well, the claim is, let's say, the claim of the Quran is that it came to a man called Muhammad who was in a cave, in the cave of Hira in Mecca.
Are you saying that the Quran does not specify the language it came down in?
The Quran was came down. The oldest Qurans you can find are in, I believe, Syriac.
Are you claiming that the Quran in and of itself does not claim what language it was written down in?
As far as I know, hang on.
Hey, Richie, get Kalam on. He needs help, huh?
Listen, it's not even needing help. Your question is a straw man question. What I'm trying to tell you.
No, it's a very simple question because you made the claim that it's not African, that it's a Quraysh, and when I'm asking you to prove it, you're running from it. Right? So the Quran in and of itself says that it came down in the clarifying Arabic, not the Quraysh, right? In the Quran, the Quraysh people were accusing Muhammad of bringing something in a foreign tongue, and when they accused him of that, he was going to kick it with the Ethiopians, talking to Ethiopian Christians, Jews, etc. And in the dialect of the Quran, right? The Quran in and of itself has words in it that are not from the Quraysh, that the Quraysh cannot actually properly transmit.
Mr. Moore, who are the Quraysh? Who are those?
Who were the Ethiopians that Muhammad was going to speak to?
No. I'm asking you who are the Quraysh. I don't know who the Quraysh. I've never heard of them before.
I can't deal with this, man.
No, you can't.
And who are they? I've never heard of Quraysh before. Who are they?
Bro, what does this have to do with the conversation at hand, bro? Real talk. So I'm not claiming Quraysh, am I? Where did I claim Quraysh?
Bro, like, seriously. Like, we all know it's historical that Muhammad was a Qurayshi Arab and it was built to him.
100%. And we also know 100% that Uthman burned the previous Qurans because they were not in the Quraysh dialect and then formally transmitted them in Quraysh, yeah? You want to say that's not the case, or yeah?
Quraysh origin.
Yeah, Uthman did burn the Quran, yeah.
Oh, all right, so real quick, so were the Qurans prior to that, were they all in Quraysh or no?
I would have absolutely no idea.
All right, then. Gratitude.
But that doesn't win an argument. I'm basically telling you, and you basically know that you basically know that Muhammad was a Qurayshi Arab, okay?
Yeah, he was a Qurayshi Arab, yeah. He also came from all that.
So you're
Quraysh, you said Muhammad was a white guy.
Yeah, according to the hadith, yeah, he was a white man.
Yeah, it was
according to the
Quraysh
hadith.
people are white people, yeah?
Say again?
The Europeans then. Quraysh people are the Europeans.
Bro, the Qurayshi people, they ain't African, and he's trying to bring it back to Africa, so that's what I don't understand.
The topic is...
So is the topic is Islam from Africa, or is the topic are Abrahamic traditions good for black people?
The topic was, are Abrahamic religions good for, or are Abrahamic religions beneficial for black people?
So the premise I put forth was, if you're practicing them from a colonialist perspective, yeah, they're negative. If you're practicing from a perspective where they bring you back to Africa, they're positive. Do you agree or disagree with that notion?
You can't. What I'm trying to say is,
I'm asking you just with the premise. Do you agree or disagree with the premise? Do you agree or disagree with the premise? Do you agree or disagree with the premise?
You cannot bring Islam back to Africa with what you got because of
what you're saying. Again, I'm not here saying anybody has to follow anything, right? That's a colonialist concept. I'm not saying anyone has to be Moorish. That's my nationality. Like the brother's not saying anyone has to be Ghanaian. That would be foolish. I'm not saying anyone has to follow Islam. The concept is any tradition that you practice, it should lead you back home. It should lead you back to Africa. And if it's not, you're going to find problems with that.
But the thing I have a problem with that essentially is because, again, going back to your root, you're saying, oh, you don't have to be part of this. You don't have to be part of that. But going back to the root of the Quran, which your guy went to, that's exactly what it's taught. If you don't follow this way, then hell is for you. You are, we are the chosen people as Muslims, and everybody else is the kafir. Then you go to Christianity, you've got the people who are, you know, the Christians, and then the people that don't follow God are going to hell. All of these concepts, okay, and those aren't African concepts. They're just not African concepts. They're concepts of other people. And so, like, I always say, if you go back to the root, I always say your root is rotten. So you can come with a new version, you can come with a new branch, a new leaf, a new fruit. However, the root of it is just the same. When we get back to it, it's just the same.
So me and you have dealt with a lot of the same Muslims on Speaker's Corner, right? The Dawah squad, like I've been beefing with Ali Dawah, Muhammad Hijab, Hamza, all the same cats, brother Hamid, all the same cats you could be. And like I hear what you're saying. Like if you come from the Hadithist concepts, yeah. If you come from the same concept they come from, Islam is horrible. I'm not saying anybody follow that, right? Like so again, all their schools of thought go back to certain methods, right? Historically, the Moors, like when the Moors took over Spain in 711, right? There was no madhab anywhere in the Islamic Empire anywhere, right? So the Moors practiced the formless concept of Islam. They didn't have this whole, you have to do it like this, have to do it like that when they took over Spain. They took over Spain, again, it was African Moors. It wasn't Arabs from the East. It was people from the Senegambia doing stuff, yeah? And they practiced the formless concept. And that's what I'm saying.
What year again? Sorry, what year was that? What year was that?
I was talking about 711 AD right there.
711 AD.
Yeah. So at that point in time, for instance, the person who invented the oldest school of thought, the Hanafi school of thought, he was 12 years old at the time that the Moors took Spain. The Moors were not following any kind of Eastern concept. In fact, they were independent for the longest time, monetarily and religiously, right? Their Islam does not, even today, West African Islam does not reflect a whole bunch of aspects from the You can go to certain parts of West Africa right now and see women leading the Dawah. You can't find that anywhere. So.
Yeah, but the thing is, this is what I'm trying to say. That's due to Africanness. Okay, that is not due to it's for want of a better word, Africanness, right? But because Africans, when they do find something, they put their flavor into it. They put their ways of being into it because they hold on to certain things within their culture, and the culture, you know, seeps into the religion. So we know that women in many African societies, okay, with many matrilineal systems. So a woman leading something is not, you know, foreign to an African, okay, because they don't live in a patriarchal society. However, when you get to these societies, most of them are patriarchal. The other ones are Arab and the European and stuff, right? So it wouldn't want a woman leading that stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, even if the African went into Spain, okay, with their own version, let's say their own version of Islam, what I'm trying to say is the root of it is still Muhammad's Qurayshi version, or the Islam that came from the Qurayshi Muhammad in the cave. So we can, and it's like what you're doing now. So the Moorish American identity to me is another, let's say, offshoot, right? Let's say offshoot, another branch of that. And you're saying, oh, well, we are now doing this. Everyone, like we said back in the beginning of the conversation, culture vultures. Right? This is what Brother Cosby said, culture vultures, right? So what you've done is that you've taken a culture, or part of it, taken part of a culture, and you've attempted to remix it and make it, you know, palpable to you and the people that you follow. People do it all the time. But what you can't do now is claim the root, because you're nothing like the root now. You know what I'm saying? Like you're some different version of what the root used to be. But you're still trying to claim. But you're still trying to lay claim to the root. And so the people that are actually practicing the root, they would look at you and be like, that's not my people. We don't do that stuff.
That's what I'm trying to explain, is they're not practicing the root. They're practicing the Hadithist form. So again, everyone that we talked about, right? They'll say that I'm Salafi, I'm Hanafi, I'm all this other type of stuff, right? And what I'm saying is that's not the root. That came after. Those are branches from the root, right? And they're rotten branches. I agree with that 100%. Hence, I'm a Quranist, right? So here's what I'm saying. There's nothing in the Quran, in and of itself, that would say the women in Africa cannot lead the Dawah. That's why there's nothing in the Quran that says they can't. There's people in the East who like, oh no, in their culture, again, Islam is not an Arab culture, right? Islam came to actually clean up so-called Arab culture when you look at the Quran, right? So when again, I'm not saying, and let me be clear, I'm not saying anyone should or has to apply the Quran, right, to their life. I'm saying that for the people for the African the same people who choose to apply the Quran to their life. If they, for instance, if they practice it from the Hadithist concept, it's going to separate them. That's the colonialist mindset. The people who came into Africa trying to enslave us with Islam, they were of the Hadithist concept, not of the same concept that the schools of thought, or not of the same concept that the Moors were, of that formless Islam, right? So what I'm saying is, if you're practicing that formless Islam, you're going. It's way more beneficial than practicing the Hadithist form, right? That's all I'm saying. Is if you're going to practice a tradition, practice when it leads you back to Africa. That's all I'm saying. So peace, family. I hope you enjoyed those couple of snippets of the conversation having to do with Islam. There was many more aspects to that conversation dealing with Pan-Africanism, etc. I'm going to link it down below. Again, shout out to Rich and Terry on Black Ice TV 7. Shout out to SolarMind and SolarVision ITBM2. Stay tuned for the debate leagues, etc. I'm going to link the video down below and a couple other things. And with that, family, I say peace and love.